Hello friend, how is it going? Welcome back to Auto Resource YouTube channel. We have another video about this brand, the Honda brand. This is 2004 Honda CR-V with approximately 175,000 miles in the odometer. This one has a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. It's a great vehicle. It's a friend's car. I believe they bought her approximately a year ago. I did that initial inspection for them and they were happy, excited about it. The car was working perfectly for 1 year, but right now I got a phone call. Hey, can you look at our Honda? We feel she's not running right. We have check engine light, and when we scan it with our little scanner, there was a misfire on number 1 cylinder. So the owner dropped her off this morning. I said, okay, I'll be right on it. I normally do Toyotas only, but they are friends. So I said, yeah, I will try my best to find out what's wrong with your baby. Start her up outside. I could immediately feel the engine was not running correctly. It was kind of hesitant. The check engine light, meanwhile, went off. So I brought her in, shut it off, scanned for codes, and there were 3 codes. P0301, misfire on the number 1. P0303, misfire on number 3. And there was also P0300, which is random misfire, that accompanies the misfire codes if there is more than one. So I was like, okay, hopefully she's fine. Hopefully it will be just spark plug or something. This is what I did. I removed these 2 covers, this one and the beauty one here. You can see it's a 2.4 double overhead KMI VTEC engine. I never mismatch ignition coils, so you can see them. I wrote the numbers on them. They are Densos, OEM, original, correct coils. I visually look at those. I didn't see any cracks. I also didn't see any oil on them. That means the valve cover, gasket and the tube seals are not leaking. And I started pulling the spark plugs. I immediately discover it's not exactly the Denso which is supposed to be there. And I immediately saw the number 1, which there is a misfire. If you look at that tip, I will call it washed off. Right? It's not dry, it's kind of dark, black. It's not full of soot or anything, but it's different than it should be. It should be grayish, orangish, brownish, like this one. Look at the number 2. I hope you see it. It's becoming more gray and orange. So this one is pretty good. Let me show you 3 and 4. Here we go. I hope it's focused. Now it's focused. Here you go. This is a really beautiful color. That's how it should be, despite the fact the model is slightly off. Both tips have really nice color, right? So we are in the 3. Here is the 4. Again, very good color. Excuse me. Very good color. This is really, really good. So we have misfire on 1 and 3. And we definitely immediately see the problem on that number 1. This is not right. Something's happening inside of that cylinder. And if you grab just the light and try to look inside, there's nothing really much to see because the opening, it's really small. So I grabbed my camera inspection camera. Here you can see how it looks like, right? There's a light, there is a little camera in the back, and that little display. This one was unfortunately on cheap side, it's not the greatest, but we will go together and we will look inside of this engine. We will look inside of these cylinders because I want to show you what I have discovered here. And here we go. I'm not sure how I will succeed because it's kind of finicky, but I will do my best to show you inside. And we will go from 4, 3, 2, 1. We will go the opposite way and you will see why. So what do? You put it on here. Now the light is still not working. You will see, hopefully the lens is clean enough. And I add the light. Hopefully you can see all of it. Right, and you can watch with me, or if I have to bring you closer, I will. I'm entering that first cylinder. And I can see I will be moving that camcorder, the camera, towards to this inspection. And when I look inside, the piston, it's perfect. There's that orange color as we discussed. And it's absolutely dry there and clean. This is perfect cylinder. I brought you closer. I changed that setup. So you see here the surface. This is the piston. And we will continue. This is not easy, so please be patient with me. Right now I'm coming out. You see it basically backwards. I'm trying, hold it, looking at your screen. And we will enter, we will do the same in the number 3. We were in the 4, we are going backwards. So you see this is the spark plug tube and we need to enter right here. And this is, my friend, another top of the piston, which is perfectly dry. And everything is wonderful in the cylinder number 3. Now let's hop in the number 2. Again, trying my best to have all my movements correctly set for you. And look at it. Again, this one is dry, clean, and nothing weird is happening in this one. Let's go and finally try to enter number 1. And this is what happened anytime I tried to enter the number 1. When I took the probe, you can see it, hopefully, the lens will fog up like something's evaporating from down there. And if I will be successful, I'm looking with you, you will hopefully see that without even pressurizing the cooling system, the cylinder is full of shiny coolant. Do you see towards to the right side of the screen how it's all shiny there? I hope you can see it. This boroscope shows us that towards to the wall where the number 2 cylinder is, towards to the right, there is basically wetness, there's coolant leaking in that cylinder. Right on that wall, it's all wet. The piston itself, it's completely wet and kind of rusted. You can see the orange color on it. It's not like the other ones. Look, this is completely wet right there without even pressurizing the system. So we have, unfortunately, blown a gasket on number 1. Now, right when I started inspection, before I even removed the spark plugs and coils and so on, I looked on the expansion tank coolant. And the tank is kind of low. I was like, where is the coolant? I was looking down there and it was absolutely clear. there's basically no coolant in this tank. I didn't have to open it or anything, but looking on that side, because it's slightly transparent, right, there was clear that the coolant is missing. But the engine was running when I started, right? I drove in, so I was not going to open the radiator yet, because that's under the pressure and you don't want to burn yourself. So only later, a little bit later, I removed the cap, right? It says here, never open when hot, da da da. So when I had it here 30 minutes or so, I finally opened the radiator. And if you look with me, the top of the fins in the radiator, they should be submerged in that greenish coolant. Everything is slightly greenish. But my friend, the top of the fins are completely dry. So there's no coolant. I don't know how high in the radiator, right? And it's a large unit. I don't know how high the coolant is at this moment, but what I can see, the top of the fins, they are absolutely dry. There's no coolant present, and we know where that coolant is coming, right? It's disappearing, it's leaking in the number 1 cylinder. If the coolant was not missing here, there could be another source of the wetness in the number 1 cylinder. It could be faulty fuel injector, which is right here. This is electric connector, which is controlling the spray of the fuel injector. This is the fuel rail. If that injector will be faulty, it could be leaking fuel in the number 1. It will be maybe not spraying correctly, and that could also cause the misfire on number 1. So you have to be careful. The fact there is some kind of fluid inside doesn't mean it's a coolant. However, if it was the injector, we will have a coolant present here and in the expansion tank also. We will smell it. If you put your head above here, you will smell clearly gasoline, that because it's so evaporative, the gas, you will smell it here. And I actually smell the opposite. I will think it might be because I opened the radiator, but if I put nose above here, I will say I even smell it from that cylinder. So I hope you have enjoyed this little video about this 2004 Honda CR-V. This is very unfortunate situation for the owner. I need to fill up that expansion tank, the radiator, and just tell them that basically they should stop driving it and get that head gasket replacement ASAP. Obviously you don't want to drive this because you can lose again the coolant, then overheat the engine, crack the head, and so on and so on. So you want to prevent that and do only the head gasket replacement, which is obvious, pretty obvious right now. Of course, it could be already cracked head, but there's not any way to find out when the engine is together like this. It just needs to be disassembled and inspected. Normally when you replace the head gasket, you send the head to the machine shop and they actually test the head that everything is fine on it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You find it helpful. If you do, please give it a thumb up and please subscribe. I have always more videos on this channel coming your way soon. Thank you for watching and have a great day, my friend.